Welcome back to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, where history could be about to unfold in the Hawkers European Talent Cup. Never before have we seen 8 different winners in 8 races, stretching all the way back to halfway through 2020. And with the top 4 in the championship yet to taste victory, we could be in for a treat. 15 laps ahead for the Hawkers European Talent Cup. Get settled, because it could be a belter. Good afternoon and welcome to Montmello once again. Jack Appleyard and Jack Gorst in the commentary box with you to bring the only Hawkers European Talent Cup race of the day. Beautiful, beautiful sunshine beaming down on the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as it has done all weekend long. We could not hope for better conditions, and so far the racing has proved brilliant, matching the weather we've got out there. And the European Talent Cup, as I said a few moments ago, if you've never seen these guys go to battle, it is absolutely fantastic. There's no better way to sell it than the fact that over the past 7 races, we've had 7 different winners, yet the top 4 in the championship, none of them have won a race. It is that up and down that the first 4 winners of the year somehow don't find themselves anywhere near the sharp end of the championship through different errors of their own making. This is what happened back in Valencia around a month ago.
Yep, so Valencia then it was chaos as always in the European Talent Cup, and all the usual runners were up the front. The Cuna de Campeones guys were certainly up the front and getting their elbows out there as Hugo Milan barged someone off the track. Roberto Garcia was also in the mix, as well as this man, the number 83 of Alvaro Carpe. And as you can see there, well, there was about 7 different lines through turn 1 there. Unfortunately, Roberto Garcia crashed out on the final lap, and it was Brian Uriarte to take race 1. Max Martinez had problems on the grid, so had to start from pit lane and eventually DNF'd the race. It left, once again, the Cuna de Campeones guys to battle it out at the front as some hard chargers came back through the pack. In the end, it once again went down to the final corner as Angel Bequeras had this coming together, and violently the bike got whipped up into the air. But number 83, Alvaro Carpe, stormed to the line to pick up his first win.
And coming into this one, which will be race 5 of the championship, it's the man sat second in the championship at the moment, Hugo Milan, that will start from pole position for the second round in a row, joined on the front row by Xabi Zurutuza and Max Martinez as well. We'll take you through the grid shortly, but one thing to point out is the fact that our championship leader Adrian Cruz says just 1 point clear of Milan will start all the way down on the 3rd row of the grid. But I mean, you look all the way down the grid, speaking to a friend of ours, a colleague, our Spanish broadcast partner DAZN, Ricard Jove, yesterday, who works for the Leopard Impala squad. His man Jacob Rulston, the Australian, he actually starts from the 6th row of the grid in 18th. But I said, oh, are you worried about that? He said, no, it's the European Talent Cup. And I was like, okay then. That pretty much says it all.
Yeah, that really does say it all. I mean, this class, there's always a huge group at the front, and you know, it's just the question is whether that group can actually stay together and stay on track entirely. There's often a few little front enders and coming togethers in this sort of racing with these low-powered bikes that need a slipstream to really be able to get up to there. But you saw your man Hugo Milan on pole, and this is exactly how he did it yesterday.
It was a very difficult race. I'm very happy for the result. I worked very hard in this weekend, and thank you to my family, to my sponsor, all of mechanic. And if it hadn't been for them, I wouldn't be here. Thank you.
Great action shots there of him stepping onto the scales.
It's important, it's in the regs.
It is, of course, all the technical regulations post-qualifying, post-race scrutineering taking place, as always. But he will start from pole position, will Hugo Milan. As you can see, 3 podiums to his name. Those are 3 on the bounce, actually. He's gone 3rd, 2nd and 3rd across Estoril and Valencia, which sees him sit 2nd in a championship, just a point behind, but gunning for that first ever European Talent Cup win. Can Super Hugo, as it says on the top of his helmet, get the job done from pole position?
Well, he certainly looked pretty fast all weekend, and you wouldn't count him out. I mean, you wouldn't count out any more of the top 15 or even 20, because the European Talent Cup really is that mixed up. I mean, Brian Oriate won the first race in Valencia last time out, and he's down in 10th in the championship. Here's Xabi Zurutuza. Hope I said that one correctly. He sits 2nd, and it's actually his debut season in the ETC. And as you can see there from his results, he's only got better and better. So certainly very, very, very impressive from the young Spaniard, just 15 years old. And as we were talking amongst ourselves yesterday, it's absolutely bizarre seeing how tiny some of these guys are, and yet they're doing 130 mile an hour by the time they get to the end of the straight, and they're absolutely fearless. Yeah,
they are. Just watch them as they go through turn 3. We were out watching yesterday, and they flick it right, then left through turns 1 and 2, and they absolutely stick it onto its side through turn 3, elbow down. It's incredible watching these kids throw these Honda 250 machines around. Max Martinez will start from the front row once again, back-to-back front rows for him, and as you can see, the only blot on his copybook so far was that 2nd race in Valencia, where he had to pull himself off of the front row of the grid after a technical problem, so we're hoping not to have the same sort of issues this time around. But good consistency from him so far. When he's seen the checker flag, never outside of the top 5, but he's yet to taste podium success.
He is, but he's another one that's up very fast this whole weekend. Been up there in the free practice timesheet, as has this man, Alberto Ferrandez, the man with the most aggressive eyes in a helmet. Look at that. That is a thumbs up and a smile, but he doesn't half look annoyed. He's absolutely fantastic. Looks fearless, and he's going to be looking to rebound after a bit of a not an understated round of Valencia, because he still finished in the top 10. That is no mean feat in the ETC, but it's certainly not where I expect him to be. We do expect him to be fighting for those podiums and wins.
No, we certainly do. He's probably he was the pre-season favourite coming into this to win the championship. He's into his 2nd year, but in his debut year last year, 6 podium finishes without a victory, but still an incredible run of form that saw him able to take 3rd place in the standings. As a result, he signed a 3-year deal with the MT77 Foundation squad. Both him and Alvaro Carpe, our race winner from last time, have done that. So they'll be hoping that the pair of them finish the season strong. We'll see them both in the Junior World Championship, no doubt, with that squad next year. Here's another super talent, just 14 years of age, the number 18 of Angel Piqueras. 2nd ETC season. A couple of podiums, just the 1 podium, sorry, last time out, but a former Spanish champion of the many youth ranks that there are out there. I think, to be fair, most of the grid have got either a pre-Moto3, a Moto4, a Cuna de Campeones.
I mean, there's so many classes in the youth categories out here in Europe, and particularly in Spain. It's just fantastic. It's a great place for young kids to cut their teeth. I mean, even Alberto Ferrandez, he's leading CIV pre-Moto3 this year. So loads of classes, and obviously it's all led to them coming into ETC. And well, they're all pretty rapid. So,
yeah, they are.
Very fast boys. Here's his teammate, Brian Oriate, who actually won the 2nd race of the year. Sorry, the 3rd race of the year. I do apologise. There you go. You can see it on his progression this year. Another quick youngster, very, very quick debut season as well. So watch out for him in this one.
And just like his teammate Angel Piqueras won that Spanish Moto4 Championship in 2019, his teammate Oriate went on to win it in 2020. So, starting from pole then, it is Hugo Milan. Still looking for that debut victory. Is today the day?
Well, it may well be the day, and we're very, very soon to finding out. They're clearing the grid, tyre warmers off, and all the mechanics you can clear off as well, because we're ready to go racing. Hugo Milan's on pole then from Zurutuza and Martinez. Hopefully he doesn't have any technical problems. Ferrandez, Piqueras and Oriate make your 2nd row. Garcia, Almanza and Cruces, the championship leader, complete row 3. All Spaniards as well, yeah, fantastic domination from the Spaniards. Esteban, Plonk and Boggio, Dodo Boggio, fantastic name, I do love that one. Morelli, Salmela and Pawelec. Ton, Alcina and Ralston. Watch out for him coming through from 18th. We know he's been very, very fast this year. Second year in ETC as well. Got experience on his side. Carpe, a race winner already, coming from 19th. Charil, Paria, Powelech, Brinton, Perez, Sola, he's very fast, a youngster, JWCh 2 Gordon, and Moodley, the South African, in 27th. And the final few rows of the grid. Tinker, Pini, Schiaretta, Danish, Collins, Ribeiro, Fockert, O'Gorman, the Irishman, and Van Tritt. And that just about rounds us out. We have the final two runners on the back row of the grid, row 13, because this grid is massive. Mihalia and Brown, the British.
We see Casey O'Gorman there, back down 35th on the grid. It's just great to see him back, actually. He's still hobbling around the paddock on crutches, is Casey O'Gorman. We saw him at the first round of the year, battling right at the sharp end. Unfortunately, had a big crash in Valencia during free practice. As a result of that, I believe he broke somewhere in the region of 3 or 4 toes. It was a big crash for the young Irishman. Broke 4 toes, yeah, so a disappointment for him, and obviously a very painful injury. Passed fit this weekend for the first time to make his return. Still clearly not 100%, but it's just great to see him back out there on the grid. Talking of British hopes, then he's certainly one to keep your eye on. Already managed by a familiar name, I'm sure, Shane Shaky Bird. I'm sure he'll be busy with other World Superbike duties today on this two-wheeled weekend. Yep. If he is watching in, good afternoon, Shaky. Let's see how your man gets on.
Certainly a very good man to have as your team manager. Obviously a World SBK winner and 4-time BSB champ, I do believe. I hope I haven't got that one wrong, Shaky. But yeah, as we see then coming down towards race time, and it's still 32 degrees, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Absolutely scorchio out there, and I'm sure the action on track will be as well.
A good British performance coming in. Actually, the best performing out there is Emmanuel Brinton as well. He'll start from row number 8 of the grid. Will the Ajax team rider, so keep your eye out for him if you're of British concern. But at the front, it's certainly a Spanish affair. All of the top 10 riders on the grid are Spanish. Certainly, I believe that the future of Grand Prix racing looks to be in a fairly good spot when it comes from Spain.
Yeah.
As we see in, obviously, Moto2 with Aldeguer taking the top of the championship, and in Moto3 with Holgado there as well. But in the championship, it's all to play for. This, of course, is race 5 of the year. Only one ETC race today, and just 1 point separates our top 2 in the table. Adrian Cruz says, starting from 9th on the grid, and your poleman, Hugo Milan. Reminder, if we can see an 8th different winner here, it will be history. Never before have we seen 8 different winners in a row. So let's get down to business. Let's see if history is about to be rewritten, Jack.
Even if history isn't about to be rewritten, I guarantee that this will be a show and a half. These guys, well, they're cutting their teeth in the racing world, and that comes with it. That means they have to learn racecraft and how to ride these bikes fast. And what it does cause is it calls for a lot of overtakes. So certainly watch out for this race. It's going to be an absolute corker.
And mistakes as well. These guys, as you say, are in the playground. They're in the school of future Grand Prix talents. And as a result, not only does it come with it learning and success, but mistakes come hand in hand as well. And we've seen a fair few over the years. Still waiting for the green flag at the back of this one to get underway. The wait goes on for Hugo Milan to start from pole position. He's used to it now, though. Started both races in Valencia from pole. Wasn't able to convert it into victory. Can he do it? One race in the Hawkers European Talent Cup here in Barcelona is underway. And it looks to be a good start from Milan. It looked as though he got away okay, but it's actually Max Martinez on the outside of the front row that's got the best start out of those across the front row and the 28. It's a long old run down to turn 1 on these European Talent Cup machines. He will lead the way into turn 1 under pressure from Xabi Zurutuza, but Max Martinez hits the front.
I can't believe the start that Guillaume Plonk got. He's all the way up into 3rd. Where did he even start?
11th.
11th.
Big crash.
Big crash. 2 riders down. Let's hope they are okay.
That's the 21 that's gone down.
21, that is
Rutsch Moodley, the South African. That, of course, on the exit of turn 2 then. We'll just find out who the other one. It looked as though the other one was one of the Hawkers Fine Network riders. As that's the South African just hobbling away. And there's the Hawkers Fine Network machine. Of course, they're running a special livery on home soil. Normally the rather easy to spot purple, but this time they've got the red and yellow of the Catalan flag for their home round, and they'll be hoping that they can have a good run from one of their runners as well, David Almanza. You can see the bright yellow, the highlighter yellow, just settled into mid-pack. Back at the front though, and it is Max Martinez that leads the way from a trio of Cuna de Campeones machines. It's Zurutuza, Milan and Cruces there in second, third and fourth, and there's confirmation it was the 25 of Perez, Gonzalo Perez, and his debut season, crashing out after tangling up with the South African Moodley.
Yeah, shame there, but for Max Martinez, no such thing. Absolutely rocket ship start all the way up into the lead. See him going nice, taking a very sweeping wide line there, keeping the corner speed up on these very low-powered machines, and it looks as though he's going to hold on and try to lead. Well, I don't know, Hugo Milan might have something to say about that as they come down into the final quarter. No, not quite. So it does seem that Max Martinez is going to lead across the stripe for lap 1.
Here we go then, out of the final corner for the very first time. Martinez leads the way, but Milan has already pulled alongside him. He'll hold on, will Martinez, though, across the line. Milan, the 44, tucks in behind him, and he's so far not been able to draft his way past the 28. It looks as though they've got that thing tuned pretty well. Have the Leglise Honda squad, with Martinez leading out to the final corner and then holding on to the lead into the opening corner. It's not very often we see that.
No, certainly not. And very late on the brakes was Martinez. Fantastic entry speed into turn 1, and it seemed to help him pull out a tiny bit of a gap on Hugo Milan. But it does seem as well, rather uncharacteristically for a Hawkers European Talent Cup race, we've got a slight breakaway pack here.
We do.
A little 4 quartet at the front.
Yeah, they've already got a second. It's Guillaume Plonks that's leading the charge in 5th at the moment. You can see the number 24 there, the freshman on board the Lara Sport machine. Already there's a second between the front wheel of Plonks and the rear wheel of Zurutuza in 4th. So they need to get a hurry on here, because within another couple of laps or so, it looks as though they may well have broken the toe already, which is exactly what you need in this European Talent Cup race. This has gone against all of our predictions so far. That's maybe why Milan and the rest of the Cuna de Campeones trio behind are quite happy just to sit there at the moment. As we see, 10 Cruces, he's not wanting to make a move. He fans those knees out to make sure that it slows himself down, so he can just sit there in third.
Oh, it looked like Uriarte was going to try to dive up the inside. I think that's Garcia, is that? Yes, it is Garcia just in front of him. So, anyway, one man that will be slightly annoyed, actually, he's had a terrible start off the grids. Alberto Ferrandez dropped from 4th all the way down to 10th in the opening 2 laps. So, certainly his stern look through the helmet is not going to be any happier at the moment, as he looks, well, look at this gap. It's 2.5 now, is it? Or is it almost 2 seconds? It's 2 seconds on the dot as they come through the 3rd intermediate.
Importantly, now Alvaro Carpe has hit the front in that chasing group as they come across the line. 2.1 seconds, as you say, Jack. That is a monumental gap after only 2 laps, and now the leading group will start to go to battle. Milan on the inside here. Will he look? No, instead it'll be Cruces around the outside. The championship leader hits the front. Remember, he started from the 3rd row of the grid. Not that it's affected him, though. And suddenly Cruces hits the front here in Barcelona. We'll keep our eye on the likes of Carpe and Ferrandez, the 2 MT Foundation 77 bikes. They've got themselves to the front of that chasing group. Can they close the gap? It looks as though, I know it's so early in this race, but I think these 4 are away with it. But of course, if they continue to chop and change at the front, that will hold them up and give them an opportunity. But so far, so good for our leading quartet.
Yeah, they're certainly pulling away. They're putting in some really good sector times at the minute. And your little thing of 8 riders, 8 different winners in a row looks as well it may well come true, because these top 4, none of them have won yet in ETC. So certainly these boys going for their first victory, and they've got a very, very, very good chance of it at the minute. As we see that gap stretch out again, it's now 2.6 seconds. Incredible, these guys pulling away. We really didn't expect this.
No, we certainly didn't. We didn't see this in free practice at all. Great pace from these 4 riders, and incidentally, those 3 Cuna de Campeones machines, the 44, the 10 and the 85, are currently running 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the championship. And I think, Jack, the reason they're able to escape is with just how aggressive those lot behind are being with each other. They're getting in each other's ways, and they're allowing these 4 to break clear.
Yeah, they're certainly doing exactly that, Jack. They're dicing and dodging each other up, and it's really, really not helping. You see these guys, Max Martinez has been at the front of this group for the entire time so far, so certainly none of the same in this group as what we see in the back group, and that is why that gap is stretching out. It's over 3 seconds now. So these guys in the back group, that chasing pack, who's going to be leading it across the line? It looks as though it is still Alvaro Carpe. So Carpe really needs to get a wriggle on and tell these guys to be sensible and hopefully try and pull this gap in.
Although it's now 3.3 seconds. Wow, they're pulling clear. And there's not a lot, and there's not many answers that they've got so far, as we see a little bit of gravel just on the exit. Oh, that's a shame. Our British runner, Manuel Brinton, has crashed out. Great to see that at least he's walking away, the young Brit. A real disappointing end after a positive weekend. But he'll be back in action in Portimao in 3 weeks' time. Back at the front now, and Max Martinez has given up on. That's 12, that's Ralston. Oh, that's the Leopard man, the winner of our opening race of 2021. We were given a tip-off that he was going to have a good run this afternoon, but unfortunately it looks as though that Leopard Honda machine has given up the ghost.
Yeah, so the bike's let him down. That's absolute disaster for Ralston, sitting 5th in the championship. He really, really needed a good ride. He needed to beat these 4 guys in front of him, because, oh, what are we seeing here then?
He's got something attached on. No, that's a
wire for something. I guess it's some sort of sensor, is it, or I'm not too sure, but certainly something gone on with that machine of Jacob Ralston. We see him looking down at the right-hand side of the bike. I presume it may well be the rear wheel speed sensor wire. If it is, yanking that off ain't going to help. So anyway, it looks like Jacob John Ralston has got going again, but I'm sure he'll either come into the pits or, well, he's not going to score points from being that far back.
Strange incident anyway, but it's game over for Ralston, and with only 1 race today, that's it. Pack up, go home. No points for Ralston. Disappointing afternoon in Catalonia for the Aussie. Meanwhile, back at the front, and Max Martinez has been shuffled to the rear of this leading quartet. It's now Cuna de Campeones machines 1st, 2nd and 3rd, with Xabi Zurutuza leading the way.
Yep, Xabi Zurutuza 3rd in the championship, but leading the way on this one. Well, not anymore. Seems as though it's a complete reshuffle, and the only man not bothered about the slipstream is that number 28, and Max Martinez, as he slots into 2nd place. So these guys chopping and changing, but not holding each other up, importantly. If we look back to the guys behind, what's the lap time saying? In fact, last time around, they were quicker. So that's the first lap that they were quicker. But look at that gap. Ferrandez is 3.9 seconds behind them. And the man at the front of that group, Alvaro Carpe, still 3.4 seconds off the lead. So they've got their work cut out. 11 laps to go, but that's a big, big gap to close up.
It is, but if they continue to fight like this, then it will give them a hope, certainly, especially with Martinez. Oh, I thought he was going to have a big look up the inside into turn 5 then. On your new race leader, not the World Championship leader, not yet anyway, the European Talent Cup leader, Adrian Cruz, says Max Martinez will shuffle the place back in. No, he won't. Zurutuza with a look up the inside. But as you say, Jack, you know, if they continue to battle away, 11 laps, 10.5 now remaining, there's every chance that they may well be able to close up the gap. It's now Roberto Garcia, the 31, that's actually leading the charge in 5th spot. You can see him there on the purple machine. I'm sure he was buoyed with confidence by teammate in the Moto3 class. Oh, that's tight into there.
Oh, my
Teammates
word.
going toe-to-toe. And in the end, it's Milan that just about holds on, but there was barely enough room for him to squeeze through on Cruces through turn 10 there, but he just about got it done. I'm sure there was a few in the Cuna de Campeones box then who were starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, they were probably having kittens. We need to get a camera down there and film those guys, because that was extremely... There we go, look.
Oh, no.
Not too bad, actually. Quite happy with that one.
Super happy.
Very chilled out, those 2 fellas. Well played, sirs.
I think that's actually the dad of Xabi Zurutuza, so he'll be pleased to see. He had the number 85 on his face mask. They'll be pleased to see his young kid battling it out at the front, looking for a first ever victory. The 85, he looks to be playing a patient game there. Again, he just opened the knees up, both left and right, to slow himself down to make sure that he didn't move any further forward. I think they're still playing a sensible game of these lot. I'm sure it'd be nice to see the pit boards, but I think certainly the Cuna de Campeones lads will want to work together. It's in their best interest to pull clear, especially being 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, definitely is. I'm sure that they've all been told that if they're at the front, they just need to be sensible and bring it home and get the points. Obviously, they're being allowed to battle it out, but they've got to take it upon themselves now to be sensible. These boys are all at the top of the championship, and they don't want to be having any silly errors, costly mistakes that cost them the possibility of 25, 20 or 16 points, because consistency in this championship is the way to win it. We often see so many times that for 1 or 2 races, one person will be absolutely electric fast and they'll dominate the race. But it's always the one that's consistent throughout the year that gets the championship done.
And that's what these four have done so far. Max Martinez, with that issue on the grid aside in the last race, has never finished outside of the top 5, and he's going to look to continue that run of form here. And the reason that the Cuna de Campeones trio are first, second and third in the championship without having won a race is that they've been consistently at the sharp end. It's been really a textbook performance from all three of them of how to be competitive in the European Talent Cup. As we can see there, an unfortunate crash for the 19 of Paul Soller. The young Gas Aspar man walks away, of course not running Gas in this one, but still has the Gas branding on it.
Yeah, it's a shame for Paul Soler. He's meant to be a very, very good young rider indeed, which is why Aspar have picked him up to come into their junior team. So a shame to see him crash out, as he's still, well, he's in that apprenticeship phase of figuring out this class and figuring out how to ride amongst this caliber of rider. Anyway, back to the front, and it's still Max Martinez that leads. He's pretty good on the brakes into turn 1, isn't he? He
is. For only a tiny little kid, he can certainly get that bike stopped. Can the 28. 9 laps remaining. Incidentally, that gap from 4th to 5th now 3.5 seconds. It's been staying constant around that 3 to 3.5 seconds for 2 or 3 laps now, so it looks as though that second group haven't been able to make any inroads just yet on our leading quartet.
No, not quite, but interestingly, the man at the front of that second group, Avatel-Cardoso, did a 52.6 last time round, but the man just behind him, which is Philip Ton, did a 52.1. So maybe if Ton can get to the head of this group, he may be able to drag them up and start closing that gap to the top guys, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out in the last 8.5 laps. Is that gone wide?
Mistake. Is that Zurutuza, I think, is it?
No, it's Max Martinez.
It's Martinez, the only non-Cuna de Campeones bike. We should have spotted that one. He makes the mistake at turn 6, and he's lost touch with our leading trio. We're interested to see the gap as they come down the back straight here. It's now Milan leading Cruces from Zurutuza, with Cruces last time around is 1.2 seconds adrift. He's not going to get the toe down the start-finish straight, and certainly now more than ever, the Cuna de Campeones team on pit wall will be saying, guys, let's work together. We've got a 1-2-3 finish in the bag here. If you can work as a team and start to pull clear of Max Martinez after that mistake.
Yeah, certainly. I think across this time around, we'll see a few of the mechanics from Cuna de Campeones hanging over with the pit boards and just pointing to the head saying, think, calm down. You've got the gap at the front. You just need to be patient with this. Giving Max the full gas sign, no wonder, because he's just made that mistake and dropped off by, what is that, 1.3 seconds. A very, very costly mistake for Max Martinez on that last lap.
Well, that wasn't the pit board we wanted to see. It was obvious what the Leglis squad were going to do. They were going to hang over the pit wall and say, get a hurry on, mate. If you have any chance of picking up a debut podium finish, you're going to have to start to pull your finger out here and latch back onto the rear wheel of the likes of Milan, Cruces and Zurutuza out front. And you spotted there, was it Milan?
Yeah, Milan was just hanging his foot off before the braking zone, so it wasn't the doctor's dangle or anything. It was just a weird one, almost like he's like stretching something out. I don't know if it's, I'm sure that it can't be a cramp thing or something. Maybe he's just stretching his leg out, his leg getting a bit stiff, but certainly we'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully Milan doesn't start dropping back or anything. But yeah, a strange one that was.
It's a good run here from Max Martinez, and that is the 22 that's gone down of Almanza. And also that looks to be, is it Roberto Garcia? I think it probably is. Those were the pair that were at the leading, or at the front of that battle for a top 5 finish. And you can see there, yeah, Roberto on the back of his levers, the number 31, Roberto Garcia, crashing out in an incident with David Almanza. I think that's down at turn number 1. And what a shame.
Yeah.
It's the curse of the special livery, Jack. How often do we see it? We've seen both Fi Network Hawkers Junior Team riders crash out. They put on the special Catalan flag livery, and both of their men have crashed out.
Yeah, it's a big shame, and that's 2 guys that really needed a solid result as well. Roberto Garcia crashed out in race 1 in Valencia, picked up 5th in the second race, which was good, but unfortunately David Almanza crashed out in the second race at Valencia as well. So those 2 boys, they certainly needed a good result. I'll tell you what, that gap's come down, hasn't it? So he's got a wriggle on Max Martinez. The full gas sign has worked, and he's absolutely flying.
Brilliant lap from Max Martinez. He was 1.2 seconds behind a lap ago. He's managed to pull in 0.9 of a second. In fact, scrap that. He's with them again. Brilliant from Martinez. He's going to draft his way into the lead. Well, we'd written him off a lap ago, and suddenly Max Martinez is back at the front. Do not count him out. He's in amongst it.
How on earth did he get such a slipstream to do that? That's incredible. Max Martinez, that's a shame. We see Corey Tinker just flashed up on the screen there, has crashed out on the 650 58 squadron course machine. See what happened to him.
Turn 10, yeah, front end goes, just like we've seen with Ivan Ortola earlier in the Moto3 squad, and you can see he certainly fits into the SIC 58 squad, does Corey Tinker, with that big blonde afro puffing out of the back of his helmet, just as we so brilliantly saw with, of course, Marco Simoncelli. So great to see. Oh, that's a mistake coming. Is that Philip Ton?
That may well be. He was in that second group, if that is Philip Ton.
We'll see who falls down the order very shortly, but Ton was right in amongst it in that fight for a top 5 finish. And yeah, I think it was Philip Ton. He's now down to 13th as a result, is the German. So having started 16th, got the job done to be up to 5th, he's now made another mistake and he's down to 13th. No, he's a long way down, is Philip Ton. Out of the points, unfortunately, is the German after running on. Back at the front though, and it's Max Martinez that leads the way after that stunning last lap. 1.2 seconds adrift, and in the blink of an eye, he's back in amongst it.
Yeah, so Max Martinez, great pace from the man to put it into the 51s and get back up to this group. We'll see what his lap time is this time around and whether the 3 Cuna de Campeones guys behind him can band together and pick their pace up and get the better of him. But certainly Max Martinez, well, he's a bit of a pocket rocket and he's proving to be a thorn in the side of the top 3 in the championship at the moment.
It certainly is. We've just seen delight for one Mercian rider, Fermin Aldeguer. Are we going to see delight for another one? The Mercian, in the form of Max Martinez, is leading this one. And again, we see Hugo Milan with an unusual strategy. It's as if is he trying to slow himself down? I don't know what he's doing.
I wonder. Just a very, very random guess. Do you remember all the way back in 2020, Taka Nakagami, his foot was incredibly hot and he posted that very disturbing picture of the terrible blister he had on his foot. I just wonder if Hugo Milan's just dropping his foot out behind, to the side of the fairing to just cool it down a little bit. Maybe he's just getting a bit hot-footed there, but not too sure. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. I don't think it's slowing him down at the minute because he's still in 3rd and firmly with this group.
No, he's still in amongst it, isn't he? Of course, the man that started this race from pole position, back-to-back poles for him. Remember, none of this leading quartet have won a race so far this year. Oh, there's one of them down. I think that is the number 10. Is it the championship leader, Adrian Cruces? He was at the back of the pack. It is. The championship leader is down. Cruces tugs the front at turn 7, and suddenly we're down to 3 at the front of this race. Despair in the Cuna de Campeones squad.
Hopefully he's okay, and just as we were talking about consistency, and that is the thing that wins you this championship, down goes the championship leader. A massive, massive, costly error, and that is certainly going to be him relinquishing that championship lead to either Hugo Milan or Xabi Zurutuza. Here's the replay of it, charging into turn 8, I do believe, and he's lost it quite early on the brakes there. So yeah, certainly maybe just grabbed a bit too much brake pressure and down he goes. So a lesson learned there for Adrian Cruces.
Oh, dearie me. Tears in the Cuna de Campeones squad. Yeah, at least he's walking away. Thumbs up. That's great to see. He's okay. Is the championship leader. Well, was championship leader with just a point separating him and Hugo Milan. I think we're going to have ourselves a new championship leader heading away from Barcelona. Once again, Milan dangles that right foot backwards. It's almost as like he's doing a little bit of swimming, a little bit of breaststroke on top of the tank like we saw Marc Marquez do at Assen all those years ago. I don't think he's pulling out the celebrations just yet, but suddenly we're down to 3 at the front of this race. It's Martinez, Zurutuza and Milan with 4.5 laps remaining. Which one of these 3 is going to take victory in the European Talent Cup?
Well, I tell you what, Jack, my money's on Max Martinez. He's looked absolutely fantastic. He had the pace to be able to catch these guys up pretty much instantly, and every single time we get to the end of the lap, he is in 1st or 2nd position. So I really think that Max Martinez has got this one covered, but I've been wrong before. I'm sure I'll be wrong again. Any of these 3 could take this one.
It looks guaranteed that the history we were talking about at the start of the race is going to happen. Neither Zurutuza, Martinez nor Milan have taken a victory before, so our 8 in a row looks very likely to happen here, with Zurutuza now hitting the front as we flick right through turn 9 and onto the back straight. Let's see who's strongest on the brakes here. Martinez tucked in behind Zurutuza, and Milan. Cruces, of course, crashing out. He's in behind them. There's Martinez, looks up the inside, but no way through. Zurutuza holds on as Milan's forced to go the wide route around the outside, possibly of Martinez, but no way through.
Yeah, certainly these guys, if they want to make the move happen now, they're going to have to get a little bit creative and a little bit argy-bargy, get the elbows out and force a move down the inside or even around the outside here somewhere. But anyway, regardless of the finishing order, wherever these guys finish in the top 3, it's going to be either a PB equal result for Xabi Zurutuza, who's only had a 3rd up to this point, or Max Martinez hasn't even been on the podium at this point. So Max Martinez will be grinning whatever happens. It's only going to be Hugo Milan that's going to be desperate for that 1st position.
He'll be looking for a little bit of, well, not revenge, I don't know what the right word is, but of course, Max Martinez, you might remember if you were watching in Valencia, actually came across the line in 3rd place. But because of exceeding track limits on the last lap, was demoted back down to 4th. So he's not had a proper official podium just yet, as we see the live championship standings, but that has changed by now. It looks as though we will have a different championship leader, of course, but and it looks likely being Hugo Milan, sorry, as well. He's only a point adrift of Cruzes at the top of the championship at the moment. So, of course, if he finishes 3rd, he'll be 15 points clear rather than the 7 we saw there. So I'm not sure if that graphic was entirely accurate, but we'll wait until we see the checker flag before we start to bring you updates of the championship. Of course, a long way to go in this season as well, with races to come over the next month or so at Portimao and then at Aragon as well. But all focus now, with 3.5 laps remaining, is on these 3 young Spaniards at the front of the race. Martinez, Zurutuza and Milan as they make their way down towards turn 10.
Yeah, down and towards turn 10. Looks as though Zurutuza is going to have a look at the inside, but once again, Max Martinez very, very good on the brakes. Before we dive into the final 3 laps, just a quick shout out to Dodo Boggio in 5th, up from 12th on the grid. This would be a PB result for him if he can hold it there. He's at the head of that group just about. His PB result so far at the minute is 13th, so certainly great ride from the young Italian on the Aspar team bike.
Laps are ticking away now. We're into the final corner. Just 3 laps will be remaining very shortly indeed. And it's still Martinez that leads the way. This is the fight, incidentally, for 4th. That's Carpe leading the way, with your man Boggio diving through into 5th, holding off. Is that Joel Esteban? I think it is. Yeah, the 78 there. Meanwhile, we've got the other of the MT 77 Foundation machines in Ferrandez in amongst it, as we have Brian Uriarte as well. These 6 riders, sorry. One of them was hidden, Angel Piqueras, the diminutive Spaniard. It's pretty easy for him to hide behind someone else in the slipstream. So all 6 riders batting it out for 4th. And you never know, Jack, with 3 laps to go, if suddenly they start bar bashing at the front and we have a little bit of drama, there could be a podium on the cards as well here. Yeah,
there definitely could be. You can always trust Justin Fokker has crashed out. That's a shame.
There he is, the Dutchman. It looks as though it's that turn 10 possibly, but he's up on his feet most importantly, and walking away is the Dutchman. Is exactly what happened here.
Yeah, another turn 10 classic front ender, I do presume.
Yep, there he goes. Yep. Oh, and the bike just flipping up as well. But that's the end of his afternoon's racing for Fokker. Thankfully, though, up on his feet and walking away. Back at the front, though, 2.5 laps to go. And it's Martinez that leads the way. But he's got Zurutuza for company. Milan just sitting a little bit off the rear wheel of teammate Zurutuza here. But you can be guaranteed that as we start to wind up towards our final lap, all 3 of them will be right in amongst it, fighting for the victory. It's almost impossible for them to put a plan together. We spoke at the top of the race about how these guys are looking to put together and find out, you know, what racecraft is all about. Well, there's no better experience for them here. This is on the other curve of what we normally see in the European Talent Cup, where it really is 12, 15 riders plus, all fighting it out for victory. This time around, it's 3 riders, as it has been for the majority of the race, a breakaway group where they've had the opportunity to watch everybody else in around them. So they know where they're good, where they're poor, and where they can make the moves. Let's see, after doing their homework, if they can put that to good use.
Well, it's exactly, excuse me, I'll try that one again. It's exactly the sort of point I was just about to make with looking at the man Hugo Milan in 3rd place, now just nipped up into 2nd. He has studied those top 2. He's been behind them for several laps now. He has the most information of those top 3. He knows where they're good, where they're bad, which lines they take, how late they break. He has every single bit of information armed and ready to be used on this final lap and a half. So certainly Hugo Milan finds himself in a very advantageous position, just so long as they haven't done the same to him.
Yeah, he's had enough of watching Zurutuza. He's now through into 2nd. We saw him take that place away from his teammate at the start of this lap 13. So he flicked left and right through turn 7 and 8. For the penultimate time, still Martinez that leads the way here. Flicking right, and Zurutuza gets his own back on his teammate. That's a brave place to find a way through at turn 9, the fast right-hander. So it's now Martinez from Zurutuza from Milan, and Milan again manages to put those knees out from behind the bubble to slow himself down. He looked comfortable there in third. Will it pay off? There he goes, up to second. Zurutuza makes wide. Mistake from him. And through goes Milan. But still, as it has been for the majority of the race, Martinez that leads the way after that mistake at turns 7 and 8, halfway through the race, where he rebounded in brilliant style. Once he's got back to the front of this group, it's been very difficult for anyone to misplace him.
Yeah, it certainly has. We'll come down now to the final lap. This is it. Just these last few kilometres to go, and it's got to be time. It's qualifying lap time. If you are Max Martinez, this is it. Hit every single marker, every single braking point as perfectly as you can, and you may well just hold on to it, as though it looks like they're coming down into turn 1 and Zurutuza is going to charge. But look at that, Martinez braking on the rumble strip, and he holds on into turn 1.
Brilliant from Martinez there. I did think for a moment that he'd made a bit of a mistake trying to cut the slipstream off and went to the outside of the track, giving the guys behind all kinds of room to make a way through, but he was so strong on the brakes, nobody able to get in front of him. Here we go, into turn 4 then. Zurutuza, is he close enough to have a move? No, he's not. He's happy to just sit there for the moment. Through turn 4, turn 5, another great opportunity as the Leglise squad put their head in their hands. Yeah, well, carry on, lads. We've only got half a lap to go. Still Martinez leads the way for them. Zurutuza looks as though he looks pretty happy. Here we go. Is he going to go side by side through turn 6 and then make a move into turn 7? Not close enough. Still Martinez that leads the way with half a lap to go.
This is it then. This is where you've got to start building. Think back to 09 Catalunya. This is what these boys have got to do right now. I hope they've watched that final sector hundreds of times, because that is exactly what they need to do. Max Martinez, he needs to get the perfect run out of here. The other two need to slipstream him. Will he go defensives? Yes, he does. He cuts to the inside, but it seems as though Zurutuza is going to be pretty determined. Hugo Milan is even more determined. He turns it under them. I think Hugo Milan's got it stopped. He does. So Hugo Milan leads with the final sector to go.
He's played the waiting game as Hugo Milan sat there doing his homework, watching the two riders in front of him, and he's pounced in the final half a lap here. Pole position. Can he convert it into victory for the very first time into the final couple of corners here? Milan leads. Zurutuza will look up the inside. No way through. It's going to be the drag towards the flag, and all three of them are in contention. Who's going to take victory? Here comes Zurutuza and Martinez, but it's Zurutuza that takes it on the line. A first ever win for the Basque rider. What a ride from Zurutuza to take victory ahead of Martinez and Milan. A brilliant final sector, and it goes the way of the number 85.
Incredible stuff. Less than half a tenth separating the top three. These young kids, they really are the stars of the future, and that was fantastic racecraft from all of them. Fantastic from Hugo Milan. He sat there, he studied them, and he waited until the final lap, the final sector, to throw his move in, but it just wasn't enough. Pit back to third in the end. Zurutuza and Martinez 1-2. Oh, fantastic race. Great stuff from these guys.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant race, and delight for Xabi Zurutuza. Only 15 years of age in his debut European Talent Cup season, and he's taken a victory in only race number 5. A former Supermoto star in Spain. He's from the same sort of region as Iker Lecuona, and of course the MotoGP star, famed for having a pretty good youth career on a Supermoto bike himself, so he's looking to follow in the footsteps of Lecuona, and he certainly started it off in great fashion. What a great ride. Fantastic final sector, as you said, Jack. Both Zurutuza, Martinez and Milan through absolutely everything at each other, and although Milan, I'm sure, will be disappointed to have not taken victory, a first ever victory, it is another podium finish, a 4th in a row for the number 44, and as a result he will take control in the championship. An important victory for him. Zurutuza taking 25 points though, of course. He suddenly becomes his closest rival as we exit Catalunya. Are we going to see a burnout? Oh, he's trying. Go on, go on. There we go. Zurutuza gets the rear wheel smoking at long last. One hand up in the air as well. What a brilliant celebration. He certainly knows how to do that. Fantastic from Xabi Zurutuza. Getting the rear wheel smoking. That's how you celebrate a first ever victory in the Repsol FIM CEV series. A word to Max Martinez as well, of course, after the heartbreak of what happened in Valencia, being robbed of a podium finish after exceeding track limits on the final lap and then having to be pulled off the grid from the front row for race number 2. Finally, he's on to the podium, a proper one. This one counts. There's no denying this one. Second place for Max Martinez, and he deserves it as well. He had to work hard for that one. Just doing some quick maths though, and incidentally in the championship it is 7 points that split Zurutuza and Milan now. Cruces drops to 3rd in the series on 60 points, with Milan taking control as we head to Portimao. Well, Zurutuza right in the mix as well, only 7 adrift from his teammate, and look at that. Great scenes in Parc Fermé as the 15-year-old takes his first ever win. Yet more delight for the Cuna de Campeones squad. They hold on to top 3 in the championship. 2 riders on the podium. What a great day. And there we go, the celebrations continue. We saw Dad in the box earlier as well. Hopefully we'll see him down there in Parc Fermé celebrating. I'm sure there might be a few tears as well. There he is. Is that Dad? I'm not sure. It's certainly one of the Zurutuza clan. Happy with that one though, and quite rightly as well. Coming out to the final corner in second, slipstreamed his way past to take victory. We're hearing from the 15-year-old very shortly, of course. Jack Goss has made his way down to Parc Fermé. You'll be able to see him there. Looks rather smartly dressed, doesn't he, in that fine white shirt. It's a shame that he doesn't own an iron, though. With Hugo Milan, yeah, disappointed. Led out of the final corner to eventually come across the line in 3rd. It's not what he would have hoped, but he takes the championship lead. He continues that brilliant, consistent run. 4 straight podiums for him. And he'll be able to move on to Portimao, in 3 weeks' time, and hope to pick up that first victory here. Here's exactly what happened in the final sector then. Milan made his move from 3rd to 1st at turn 10. He'd been plotting that move all race long. Martinez was forced to sit up as he went through turn 11, and then as we went into the final corner, a look up the inside from Zurutuza, no way through, but he absolutely nailed turn 14. Didn't even need to tuck into the slipstream before they'd even come out of the final corner and got the bike upright. He'd already got side by side with Milan and drafted his way through to take a debut victory. The Leglis squad, well, they were hoping for victory. They'll have to settle for second, but a great step in the progress and the development of Max Martinez in only his debut season. Same goes for this man though. The European Talent Cup continues to deliver year after year, week after week, new men into the series, and they come up with the goods. The latest one, Xabi Zurutuza, is speaking with Gosta.
Xabi, congratulations, your first victory in European Talent Cup after an incredible final lap. Talk us through that race.
Yes, I'm very happy. The race is very difficult because we are 4-5 pilots in the same second. I was second in the turn 10 and I passed Maximo. And in the last lap I passed Hugo with a slipstream. Thanks to my sponsor, my uncle, my parents, all of. Thanks.
And once more in Spanish for us.
Pues bueno, ha sido una carrera muy difícil porque hemos estado ahí 4 o 5 pilotos que muy rápidos y bueno, yo he aguantado ahí como he podido y en la curva 10 he adelantado uno de ellos y en la última curva he adelantado a Hugo, mi compañero. Dar las gracias a todos mis sponsors y a mi equipo que son unos cracks y a todos. Gracias.
Hugo Milan started from pole position in our only European Talent Cup race of the day here in Barcelona, but the best start went to the man on the outside of the front row in Max Martinez, quickly joined, settling into second by a fellow front row starter, Xabi Zurutuza, in unlikely circumstances and in what we're not used to seeing in the European Talent Cup. We had a breakaway of 4 riders with one of the pre-race favourites, race winner at the start of 2021 in Estoril, Jacob Ralston, having a few problems and forced to retire. At the front though, it was Milan, it was Martinez, it was Zurutuza, and it was Cruces as well, the championship leader. 3 seconds clear they were after only a couple of laps before a big moment. It wasn't a mistake and running wide. We missed that on the live. It was a big wobble for Max Martinez that forced him 1.2 seconds off the back of the leading trio. Further down there was a crash for the 37 of Corey Tinker on the 658 Squadra Corsa machine, but in just a lap Max Martinez was able to pull in that 1.2 second deficit and re-hit the front of this race. Before then, with only 4 laps remaining, drama struck with the championship leader Adrian Cruces crashing out, thankfully unhurt, at turn number 7. It left 3 riders, all 3 having had the opportunity to lead the race, and we were treated to a belting final lap. Further down the field, Justin Fokker crashed out, the Dutch rider getting up onto his feet and walking away. But as the final lap started, it was Martinez that led the way, with Zurutuza sat there into second. We came down to turn 10 for the final time, and Milan picked up not 1 but 2 places to hit the front in the final sector. But Zurutuza managed to get a perfect run out to the final corner and drag his way past his teammate to a debut European Talent Cup victory. To go with it, a brilliant celebration as well. A one-handed burnout to wrap up a day to remember for Zurutuza. They can see confirmation of the results. Less than half a tenth separating our top 3 across the line, with Alvaro Carpe getting the better of Brian Uriarte in that battle for 4th place. Esteban Ferrandez Piqueras and Dodo Boggio coming across the line in that second group, Guillaume Plonks, who was up to 3rd in the early running, eventually took the final place inside the top 10, with the final points going the way of Alcina, Charul Charil and Alex Gurdon as well. Just getting the better, as you can see, by our Polish competitor Oleg Pawelec. Further down you can see the likes of Hakim Danish, of course part of the Asia Talent Cup. Picked up a couple of podium finishes actually in Qatar at the start of the year, did Danish, cutting his teeth in the European Talent Cup across in Europe for the first time this year. And some costly crashes as well. Adrian Cruces relinquishes his title lead after that off at turn number 7, with Roberto Garcia and David Almanza, another pair of riders who were inside the top 10 of the championship, having a coming together at turn 1 and unfortunately crashing out. That's it for the European Talent Cup then. They're next in action in Portimao, a couple of races for them there. Before we switch our attention to our final 2 races of the year, though, let's see them onto the podium. Yet more delight for the Cuna de Campeones squad. The new leader in the Hawkers European Talent Cup, Hugo Milan, a 4th straight podium finish for the number 44, sees him 7 points clear of teammate Zurutuza. It's a first ever podium, an official one at least, for Max Martinez, 2nd place for him. And delight for the Ligui squad, but in only his 5th Hawkers European Talent Cup race, it is victory for Xabi Zurutuza.
He's pretty pumped, isn't he?
He is. The Basque rider making the trip down from the north of Spain. Well worth it as well. He's about to pick up the race winners trophy from the mayor of Montmello. Yet another podium trophy for Hugo Milan, 4 for the year, 4 on the bounce as well. Brilliant consistency from him. We'll be hoping to carry on that. Max Martinez gets his first FIMCV Repsol podium trophy. Can keep hold of that one as well after the controversy in Valencia. And it's victory for Zurutuza.
Great ride from all of those top men. Fantastic stuff from them. Obviously receiving the check once more. That'll go, I'm sure, to a McDonald's tonight. He certainly deserves it. That was a fantastic ride, especially to take your first victory like that in just his 5th race in the European Talent Cup, no less. These guys, particularly some of these guys where it's their debut season, are doing fantastic. There you have it then, the Spanish national anthem sings out once more, and these guys are going to get to spray the fizzy water, which always makes me smile. It's just how young these guys are, they're sensational. It's a testament to the Grand Prix framework that we've got in Europe now, that we see these young kids, you know, Xabi Zurutuza, what is he, he's 15 years old, and he's winning races at this level already. Certainly one to keep your eye on for the future, as is Max Martinez and also Hugo Milan. No doubt all of these three will be very, very happy indeed. Of course, commiserations, we look back to Adrian Cruzes, who unfortunately crashed out in the closing stages of that race, relinquishes the championship lead. But you can guarantee that with the consistency that he showed at the start of the season, Zurutuza gets a full-on soaking down the back. Great to see between the two teammates, lots of camaraderie with them, and certainly a well-deserved cool-off, because it is absolutely roasting outside. So there you go then, here are the championship standings. Hugo Milan, 76 points now, with Xabi Zurutuza just 7 behind on 69. Adrian Cruzes slips to 3rd from Max Martinez in 4th. Joel Esteban having a strong season in 5th. Alvaro Carpe, Brian Uriarte, Alberto Ferrandez and Jacob Ralston, 2 riders who'll be wanting to climb those places in the remaining races of the season. David Almanza in 10th after his crash stays on 34 points. Angel Piqueras, Marco Morelli, Rico Salmela, the top Finnish runner, Cesar Perea, Philip Ton, Guillaume Plonk, who ran really well at the start of that race, I think 3rd down into turn 1, and Roberto Garcia unfortunately crashed out once more. Cheryl, 18th. Dodo Boggio, who had a very, very good race indeed, unfortunately finishing 9th in the end after getting up to 5th, and the rest of your runners down to Dennis Mihalia with 1 point down there in 25th.
2 races remain then here in Barcelona. The Junior World Championship and the European Moto2 Championship coming up. But in our only Hawkers European Talent Cup race of the day, it was victory for Zurutuza, a first in his young career. And I think we can probably say quite fairly, it's the first of many. Brilliant from the 85. Junior World Championship action is coming up next.